It's 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. The first item will be roll call.
Brown,
Here.
Cox,
Here.
Britt,
Here.
Gerke,
Here.
Davis, Nail.
Here. Next item will be a motion to approve the agenda.
So second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Everyone's had a chance to go over the minutes from the last meeting. If there are no additions or corrections, they'll stand approved as presented. Announce the visitors. Hey, Venus, and I'm sorry, I don't know everybody's name back there.
Brendan Hurley.
That's Dalton, side bottom, and an apple. And Eric Myers.
Community Service Award.
Yep. So the Community Service Award is awarded to district personnel who went above and beyond call of duty. That is directly benefited the community or member of the community directly. So on January 27th of this year, Dalton and Adams responded to a house fire to stand by from state fire department. While on scene, state fire department personnel brought out 3 dogs, 2 of which were unresponsive and not breathing. Dalton and Adam were able to resuscitate one of the 2 dogs, and he survived. So all EMS personnel are normally trained to treat animals. These guys felt need and went above and beyond and saved somebody's animal, which was probably a good part of their family. So I want to go ahead and offer or give them their awards, and Dalton, it's you. Adam, this is you. Thank you.
Good and heard. We can call him back if you need. Thank you, gentlemen.
There was no public comments sent in, so we'll move on to officers' report. Eric's not here tonight, so Jamie, the CFO report.
First thing I have for you guys is on March 1st, we got an email from Missouri Department of Revenue that have changed the due dates for sales tax to the end of the month. So you might see a little timing difference happen with our sales tax payments. So the end of the month, it used to be the 20th, now it's the end of the month. So my report starts on page 5, budget performance summary year to date. So this is January versus just January year-to-date budget. You see revenues up about 3.5%, and operating expenses are only about 42% of where we should be for that period. So that looks good. Any questions on that? Next pages 6 through 9 is the budget performance. And then January to the annual budget. So 112 is about 8%. So again, revenue is at 16%, so it's up about 8%. And overall expenses are right on target at 8.606%. Any questions on any of that? Page 10 is the balance sheet as of January 31st, compared to last year at the same time. Yes,
On page 10,
Mhm.
I was wondering what's included in Windsor base,
So that is the ambulances that are in Windsor.
the maintenance and the,
No, just the ambulances. This is just assets.
okay,
You're on the balance sheet, so it's just assets. So it's the ambulances, there's some furniture, radio equipment, that kind of thing that's
Okay.
located.
thank you.
Page 12 is the profit and loss previous year comparison. So you can see revenues up about 77,000 over the same time last year. Expenses are also up about 60,000. So overall, we're at 18,000 better than we were last January.
I had a question on rent expense, what we're renting.
So we rent ice machines.
Okay, have two.
Actually, just one ice machine. It used to be two, it's just one now. And then what else is in there? What else is there? Look at the details back here. Oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Or, yeah, water softeners.
What page is that?
Page 8. It's about 2/3 of the way down. Rent expense, and it shows Colgate water softener and ice machine.
We should go back, find things and try to go forward, and look at it. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on any? Page 13 is our bank balances as of March 3rd. You can see there, those transfers were made into those other accounts for the ambulance vehicle replacement building fund and equipment replacement fund. Any questions on any of that? Page 14 is the cash reserve analysis. I changed this up a little bit since we did move that money. So total months in cash reserve is still the same as it always has been. We're about 5.5 months there. It's up about a week from last meeting. But then down below, I just took the general checking account balance and split that out into the operating expenses, which was the budgeted expenses less the capital. So you can see where we were with our general fund. Since all of our capital expenses, we have moved that money to those other accounts. So in the general checking account, we've got about 4 months.
I think that's cleaner looking.
I thought it would be helpful for people to understand. Any questions on that? The check register is pages 15 through 17. I did want to point you to page 16, about 5 transactions down. There's a deposit there for $314,118.91. That is the provider relief fund round 4 payment we received from HHS. So we weren't expecting that. We thought we had already received what we were going to receive, but
And what was that? What was it for?
the provider relief fund.
Relief.
So it's the same thing we've gotten all of the other stimulus funds from. So it's basically to provide for our lost revenue and increase in expenses. They added a further time period because the health emergency continued. So
We didn't have to apply for that.
we did.
We did.
We did. We just applied for it so long ago, and everybody else had already gotten their money. There had been like 2 or 3 rounds that they had issued. We just assumed we weren't getting any, and then there was another round.
I see.
Issued more payments. So
Nice surprise.
any other questions on any of those transactions? Pages 18 through 20 is the credit card statement. Any questions on any of those transactions?
I do Planet Hollywood. Is that advanced deposit or?
Yes, so that's where Eric's at, training. That's the hotel he's staying in. That was the advanced deposit he had to pay to book the room.
I thought maybe we had some stars in our midst or something.
Well, we'll see when he gets back, but I think it's just a hotel.
Okay.
And then the actual cost of the training is on page 20 there, that PW doesn't need yet, that's the cost. Any other questions on it? Page 21 is the summary of the current bills due, and then the details are pages 22 through 24. The Office of the Missouri State Treasurer, that 86,000, that is our federal share of the GEMT that we pay now, and then they pay us the entire amount. in a couple of months, so. Any other questions on any of those? No, that's it.
Thank you, Jamie. Are there any other questions for Jamie? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the payment of outstanding bills. So moved. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Move on to unfinished business. Ordinance comp presentation. We only have one bid, so. Insurance benefits group, if you want
Yeah,
to.
so I don't know, do you guys already opened it? Do you have it?
It's here, yeah.
Okay. So we went out to market on the workers' compensation. So the first page I'll kind of draw your attention to is just the marketing summary. So we did go out to just over 10 carriers. Emergency services is a limited distribution market for insurance on work comp. There's just not a lot of carriers that like to play ball. But we did get a lot of declinations, mostly due to appetite. They just don't write the class code. But we did get some hard quotes back from Berkshire Hathaway, who we've been with in the past, Missouri Rural Services, who we've been with in the past as well, and then the incumbent carrier, MIM. The quote came in at $88,962 per year based on the payrolls provided. So what the brass tacks is, though, regardless of the payroll, the rate is down for your major class code EMS. And it's actually a little bit up on clerical, which you don't have obviously as much payroll on under. But assuming you run similarly to how you did last year, you're going to pay less. So again, your rate it went down from 516 to 511 for the 2022 to 23 plan year. And most of that is due to your experience modification in 2021. An experience modification is simply an adjuster that the insurance company adds to all of their quotes that reflects experience. And so you had your out of the past 4 years, excluding the most current year, they look at claims to determine what that experience modification factor is. One is determined as average. So it's like I've always said when I came to these meetings, you guys have always done a great job about getting people back to work. I commend everybody who is in management. The back to work program is great. You take safety very seriously. And for the most part that we've written it, you've been below a 1. So your experience modifications reflected that for this upcoming year, which is why your rates are less. So anyway, so after the marketing analysis was concluded, MIM was still the most competitive market and who we'd recommend going forward. I will still say their dividend program has gone away for the upcoming year. Although because of claims incurred in the past year, it's just a poor year for claims. I don't know that you would have been eligible for it anyway. However, I do like to keep abreast of the idea that there is a safety grant, and we can talk about that if there's anything that the district needs. MIM will provide a $1 for $1 safety grant if we apply for it. So if there's any lifts or any items that come up that you guys feel there's a need for that we can apply, I think it's still up to $10,000 that they'll put towards that if you apply. And we've been seeing them be very generous in giving that out. So I'd entertain any questions, but that's the direction that we found in the market for the district.
Question, so nobody is getting any of the dividends in this particular season, is that what you're saying, or is it just us? I don't know what.
Well, it's all based on claims in the prior year. So
Right.
because you guys ran a little hot this last year, you probably wouldn't qualify anyway. But what I'm saying is, yes, they're discontinuing it going forward for everyone. What they realized, MIM had a decision to make. They were they did a survey to brokers, and they said, would you rather us just give a better price up front, or would you rather us hold it out for a little, for the chance of getting a better deal on a dividend. And brokers unanimously said, just give us the better deal up front.
Right, because we benefited from that.
You benefited last, yeah, well, you benefited, I think, a couple of years in a row, yeah. So, but just so happens the year it's going away, you might not have qualified anyway, so it works out. So,
So what is that experience modification? What's the number on?
it's 0.79. Yep, it's very, very strong.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know if I mentioned that, last year it was a 0.97.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's perfect. Yep.
Questions? Are there any other questions?
Thank you, guys.
You want to review this?
You guys want to go ahead and vote?
We can wait, let you review it, and then we can approve it next month or
Is
next meeting.
Is it only MEM in there?
MEM is the only quote. I can provide any of the others that you need.
So let's go ahead and accept.
It's the only one we have, right?
Well, I mean, the others are 130,000, so.
It's up to you guys. I can look at it, compare it to.
Let me know. There's no pressure. I think your next meeting's before the first anyway, so there's really no reason to vote on it.
We'll let Jamie look over it and we can approve it at the next meeting.
Thanks for doing that work.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate the partnership.
Thanks,
All right, guys.
Be safe.
We'll try.
Gov Deals update.
Radios that are listed, the portable and mobile radios, are listed in 2 separate lots of 21, and they were listed on Gov Deals for 4,200, which was our reserve price that was agreed upon. They had been on Gov Deals for about a month, and we didn't receive any bids on them. They closed with no bid. The stair chairs, that deal will close on March 11th. So far, we have a bid for each of those stair chairs, all above the listing price. So stair chairs shouldn't be an issue. It should be.
We probably recommend you put those radios back out, keep the reserve, but put the starting bid at a lower amount, so we can see what people be looking. Because people looked at them, they just didn't bid on them. So, and Roy, you said there's some on eBay for like $200 a piece, which is what we based our reserve on.
Yeah.
It's just hard to sell them on Gov Deals one at a time, because you have to list every radio separately that way. So, I mean, it's up to you guys, but I'd say try it again with same reserve, lower beginning.
How many was there?
There's 42 altogether, so there's 21 portables and 21 mobiles, is that right, Roy?
Yeah.
And the mobiles are the ones that go in the truck. And the portables are like what Eric has.
So what's your recommendation for starting bid?
Started at 200. I mean, the reserve is still 4,200. We need to start at 200 to see where it builds from there. I mean, at least give us an idea of what maybe we can move them for.
Right.
Maybe we can have a reserve works. If it's under the reserve, we can choose not to sell them. Is that how that works? So we can still choose to sell them if they're still under reserve.
We can choose to sell them.
I'll take a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Do it. Second.
All
in favor, say aye.
So list them again with a starting bid of 200. Is that right?
Yes. And then the same reserve.
Or another
Bid
30.
for a month.
Yes. Employee handbook updates.
Start on Page 25. This workers' compensation benefits policy is a replacement for what we already had. The biggest change here is that this policy states that we are going to use FMLA in conjunction when they're on for work comp. So FMLA protects the job, where comp is pay, basically. So they're kind of two different things. So that's why they need to be used in conjunction. This policy came from Tamer, our labor attorney. So that's who provided that policy. Any questions on the work comp benefits? Was there anything else, Roy, that we changed in there? So this is a replacement for what we already had. FMLA is a new policy we do not have in our handbook. And this policy also came from Tamer. So the attorney provided that to us. So this is a brand new policy. And there is one thing on page 31 on use of paid and unpaid leave. We're not going to require that they use all their vacation, and we don't have any personal time. We only have sick and vacation, so that part. And these have all been ran past the union, and they approved it. Any questions on that from the leg? The last one is our current leave of absence policy, and you can see the adjustments there. We change it to leave will be approved on a month-to-month basis. And then we deleted the entire section 4, injury or illness not related to work, and replaced that with a family medical leave, and it just says to refer to that policy, which is
Are there any questions on the handbook update? If not, I'll take a motion to approve those.
I move that. Second.
All in favor, is there any further discussion? Not all in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. We have no new business. Are there any announcements?
I wanted to kind of mention, the Democrat beginning next week will be printing the paper in Springfield. So our deadlines will be moved from 9:30 to 5:30. So when I cover PCAD or when we cover evening events, those events will be online, but not in print the next day. But if you have a big item that we discussed or that you discussed, I can meet with someone the following Wednesday for a larger article in Thursday's paper. So I just wanted to make you aware of the next meeting. Will be a little different.
So this temporary deal or
No,
they'll be growing?
right. We are no longer printing our paper as of Friday. We will subsequently be moving into the old water department building the 1st of May, downsizing, but we will still be bringing you a quality product.
Super.
Just a little.
You can walk here.
I know, yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think we-
Are there any other announcements? I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.